And welcome to the Friday episode of our Pac-Man series. So, at the start of this week, I was enthusiastic that I could cover the whole computer game in a week. Yeah, that was never going to happen. Dull. But we've actually gone really, really far. We've got a nice array of all the map tiles. We've even put the food in. So, if I show you what we've done so far, we've got our lovely map with all the bits of food ready to be eaten by Pac-Man. But I will not forgive myself if we are not able to put Pac-Man in this game before this week finishes. I will not have it. So we've got to put our Pac-Man in there, and that's what we'll do today. So, let's go back to our wonderful graphics pack that we've got from Tinternet, and we can see that we've got our Pac-Man there. Now, you can see that there are, I think, 3 tiles we'll need. This one here is for when he dies, so we don't need that one. I can't imagine we're going to get round to that. The power-ups and the enemies and stuff as well. But these 3 here are the main ones. These ones here. And so we can almost replicate these. Can we just take these? Actually, I want us to do our own graphics, but we can see what they should look like. So it should be him with his mouth open, semi-mouth open, and then closed. And so that's what we'll do. And we'll use the direction function on Clickteam Fusion to do the different directions and stuff. Sort that out, which will be nice. So we're going to do, is it 24 we've used? So 24 and 24. And then let's get started. So I'm going to start with a circle. And why have I done all the food that yellow colour? Something I've just noticed. No, I don't want to cancel. Yeah, I do want to cancel changes. I've just noticed the food's the wrong colour. So we need to change the food colour. And I wonder if you shouted at me last time. I don't need to make the same. I just need it to be not yellow because Pac-Man's yellow. So let's make sure I've double clicked on it. Let's make it green. Let's go crazy. Let's have a green. Actually, green's horrible. What horrible food. Let's do it orange. Orange is good. Pac-Man needs to be yellow. So that's the rule. Okay, let's get our nice yellow colour. And I don't know. Yeah. So the circles start from the top left, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a circle in, and I'm going to copy that for each of the frames, and then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to remove parts of it for the Pac-Man. So is it roughly there? I think that's all right, isn't it? Let's go back to my. So he's got his mouth open quite a lot, and then we need his mouth open sort of a little bit less. To make sure I do it from the center, otherwise it will just look odd when it animates. Then his mouth open like that. So we need we need the second frame to repeat, and then the first frame. So we need it to loop, and I don't know, what's the first frame? Is it 0 or 1? Assume it's 1. So back to 1. And then let's just see. Yeah, it looks alright. I think the speed's probably a bit too much. So if we put the speed down a bit. Num. Cool. And there we go. Right, we want obviously him to munch in the different directions. So we're going to copy all of that and paste it. Now you might be tempted to use the one here. There was one that said, here, create rotated directions. Let's just see whether that works. I've not had a very good time with this. It mainly works with like top-down car racing games, but I think Pac-Man it should work. So yeah. And you've got this horrible thing again where it annoyingly crops Pac-Man. That's just going to be annoying later on. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to fill, we did this before, I'm going to fill the backgrounds. Then I'm going to, I'm also going to have the action point. I'm going to make sure they're at the center, which it is. So this time it would be useful to have it at the center, hopefully. Create rotated directions, and then it will keep them all nice and the same frame, same frame size. I've no idea whether that's important, but we shall see. I'm going to pause it and I'm going to just remove the green background now. Okay, that was quite boring, but I think I've managed to get rid of them all. Okay, now I've already said that we're not going to use Clickteam's built-in movement, but I've also said that we need to test this at all opportunities. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put them in. Now we are creating objects, and so we've got to make sure that Pac-Man is always on the top. So I'm going to put an always condition in here, and we're going to say order bring to front, so that Pac-Man is always visible, because otherwise what will happen is Pac-Man will be here and the objects will just be pushed on top of him, so you won't see him at all. And what I've done is I've just put movement to 8 directions, just so we can quickly test to see whether the animation worked. Yeah, working well. Something that's really irritating me straight away is the background being white. We're at a point now where we can change it to black. And I think you do that in the frame. Background black. And that's a lot easier on the eyes. Oh, that's much better. Num 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 num. Okay. Now, obviously, at the moment, Pac-Man can go through walls, which it's not gonna wash for me. So we need some way of manipulating Pac-Man's movement. Now, what we could do is have kind of collisions with the walls here, but one of the issues with that is you end up with clipping, you end up with Pac-Man being sort of stuck in the wall, and I don't know, probably if you've used Clickteam before for like 5 minutes and used the built-in collision detection, it's really good, but it's never going to be perfect because you're drawing your own things, and Clickteam works in a kind of weird, well, not a weird way, but like a sensible way where it puts everything as squares and it tries to work out collision detections and overlaps that way so that it doesn't destroy your computer when you play the computer game. And with something like Pac-Man with the nice curved sides and stuff, it's just not going to work. So we're going to use a different technique for Pac-Man's movement, and we're going to start it in today's video. So let's get started. So we're going to first of all just remove that the movement thing. We're just going to have it as Pac-Man as static, and we're going to really simply have keyboard conditions upon pressing a key, and I'm going to say the right key. We're just going to move, so the position of Pac-Man, so set X coordinate to where Pac-Man is now, so position X coordinate plus 24, because we're doing a 24 based game, so everything's in 24s. And we're going to do the same for each of the other directions. So if you press left, it's going to go 24 to the left. If you press up, he's going to go 24 up. So position Y coordinate and position Y coordinate. So up is minus 24, I think, from memory. So it's not what you'd expect, because their grid starts at the top. So to move down, you want to add 24. So anyone who's done maths at school, that is not the right way around. When you talk about positions in Clickteam, and actually most programming languages, you start, your origin is at the top left. Let's try and think. Here. So when you move to the right, you're adding, just like you do on graphs at school. But when you move down, you're adding, not subtracting. So down is an add to the y coordinate. It's kind of weird, but it makes sense because if you think about a web page, you can scroll with a web page. So if you start at 0 at the top, you're only ever going to know where the top is on a web page, because the web pages can be any height. So it kind of makes sense. But anyway, enough diversion. I think I've talked about that plenty of times before. But you can see that he's consistently going from tile to tile, but he's not really lined up where he needs to be at the start of this. And that's going to be a problem, because he starts in the middle here. He's kind of between tiles. Also, I feel Pac-Man is a little bit small, and I'm wondering whether I've miscalculated, and I probably have. So if I go into here, if I count the pixels, so it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Yeah. So I think Pac-Man is double size, which is kind of irritating. So if I count this one's probably an easy one to count, isn't it? So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Wow. So it's 13, 14, 15. Yeah, he's a little bit bigger. I don't really know how they work with that. So I'm going to do the thing where I clone him this time, not copy and paste, and we want him to be a bit bigger. I don't think he's going to be double size. Let's make him 40, and then let's edit all of these. Be active 4, isn't it? Yeah. And the reason I duplicate or clone is in case I change my mind. Basically, when you make it smaller, you lose all of the detail from the bigger one. So you want to make sure you don't get rid of that. I don't know why I've opened it, because I've moved him off screen. So let's move him back on screen. Oh, I need to say that he always is at the front as well. And I need to move these across to the new one. You can tell I'm tired. Okay. I mean, that looks better, doesn't it? We need to change the direction. So right, so direction will be right. Direction, where's it left? So it'd be there. This is the problem with multiple directions, is you've got to change each one. And actually you don't. You could do this in one function, but let's not go into that. Yeah, so going along, that's not too bad. We obviously want him to move like fluidly. This isn't going to be the final way we're doing this. I'm just kind of showing you how we can manipulate the movement, because if I line him up, so let's see whether he actually fits in this part here. I mean, does that look right? So just using my phone for reference, this is a YouTube video that I found, and it actually doesn't look too bad for size of Pac-Man. Doesn't look too bad. So we're going to run with it. But this causes a problem, because Pac-Man starts in that middle bit, which is between frames. Between sprites. And so we've got to try and figure out the maths of where that is, because we've just kind of plonked him down like randomly at the moment. So we need to figure out exactly where that is, how we're going to manage the movement. Where are we going to let Pac-Man go? How are we going to figure out... Because what would be nice is if we have him starting on a tile, animating him between tiles, but the player can't change their mind mid-tile. But I think with a game like Pac-Man, that's not going to wash, because if you click the wrong way and an enemy is coming, you kind of want to avoid that enemy quickly. So that's going to need an awful lot of thinking of exactly how we're going to orchestrate the movement of Pac-Man. And that is definitely something we're going to start with next week. And so next week, I'm hoping to have Monday's video get his movement down perfectly. It wouldn't be too difficult, I'd imagine, to eat the food, but I'm wondering whether that's going to be a Tuesday video. But this has been really, really fun getting back to these videos, and I hope you enjoy them. If you do, click like and subscribe to the channel for more videos like this. And yeah, as I've always said, make sure you put in some comments on things you want me to cover in the future. What project am I doing after Pac-Man? I will, if you come up with a good idea, I will go with it. But thank you very much. It's been really fun this week, and I'll see you next week.